Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. Lots of Murphy's Law going on tonight, or today. I changed some stuff around, so this is the price I'm paying. Okay, so I'm just working through some technical problems, and hopefully this is going now. And if not, this is just what I got to get out today. This is dropping into Pipeline Audio episode 16. It's just mostly studio updates and stuff around here. And I tried to do this before, but I'm having a bunch of errors, getting a bunch of dropouts with OBS. I'm not sure why. And it's definitely dropping out on the way to the stream, the live stream. But I'm recording this and streaming it at the same time, so hopefully this will run okay. And let's just see. Looks like we're going okay, so I'm just gonna leave it be. Okay, so first of all, tonight at 5 o'clock, we're doing our second Saturday, Kailua Saturday night market. For those of you who are kind of more familiar with the history of this school, since I've been here, we put a lot of emphasis on having the kids who want to play out there playing. And I think most famously we started with a band of 8-year-olds that ended up opening up for Jack White at the Blaisdell, which is the biggest venue in Hawaii. And at first I just told them, any place you can find power, that's a place you can play. Deal with the cops later, and they learned, and they ended up putting on a lot of their own shows over at the regular Thursday night farmers market, kind of across the street from the school, and they actually learned how to be really good performers, and we kind of tried to carry that tradition on at the school. And for you guys, way back in the day, that was where a lot of the Reaper Live guinea pigging was, where we'd had the kids setting up computers to play through, and that's what they used for their amps, their drums, everything. And we had like Steven Slate samples and stuff. And it was really cool because I could walk out into the crowd with a laptop and control everything. And nowadays that's kind of passé, right? You can just go and buy a digital mixer and you can do that. You can use your phone even to control your front of houses wherever you decide you're standing, and that's really awesome. And we did a lot of that was the guinea pigging that we used to do, and it used to be our kids would play that show every week, and then they play a show in town. They might play another show at Board Riders in Kailua, and we just haven't had that consistently for a long time. And now with this Saturday night market, it's once a month, but they can, at least that's another place to play, and it's in Kailua, so that's awesome. With my health issues, I don't usually get to go anywhere but here, so it's really cool to have a show in Kailua again. Anyway, if you're around tonight from 5 to 9, we'll have people over there playing. And so that normally we'd have our kids playing it, but the Sailor Jerry Festival is this weekend, and so if it's most of the hardcore and metal bands and stuff will be out playing that, and that's most of our kids. So we're going to have a reggae band. Actually, Mana is going to be playing with his band tonight there, and some of our students, I think Candy Diaz and her people will be there. And, of course, Lenore the Shredder will be there, as usual. So if anybody sees any dropouts, let me know, because I've been having trouble with this all day. I put in a new audio interface, and that's kind of the issue. Okay, so speaking of which, if anybody knows where I can get some ADAT cables cheap, Toslink, whatever, optical cables, I really just need some 3-footers, I think. I'm talking really short. I'm not kidding. And I don't want to pay a ton for them, so it's like I need like 6 of them. So I'd love not to pay, $60 or $100 for them. So if you know, just let me know. But yeah, like I said, if you do hear some dropouts, let me know right away, and I'll try and fix this. But who knows with this? So it's been really frustrating today, actually. But so one of the reasons for this is, and why we're doing this today, I went and got a RME Digiface USB, and I'm actually watching the diagnosis meter. Seems like it's okay. Looks like I have had a couple dropouts, but this is weird because I really trust the RME stuff. If you know the legends of how Reaper began, it was a lot of RME, and I'm surprised that I'm having this much trouble with it. It's really frustrating me, actually. I'll diagnose more when I get some more chance, but I do have to get this done for now, so I'll get there. So anyway, this is I put an ADAT card in the in our school's M32, which is the Midas version of the X32. Comes with a decent USB card that actually I wasn't having trouble when I was doing this kind of thing with, so that's really strange. And we tried a Dante card with it, but I had a lot of trouble with the Dante stuff, so I put an ADAT card in, and for the recording side of it, it works great. Whatever this broadcast issue is something else, but on the recording end, it works just unreal. Really fast, really low latency. And last week I had been actually trying, I was running the ADAT card with a pair of Motu 2408 Mark IIs. And if you're not familiar with that, these are, I think they made them from 1999 to 2003. And, when you're talking computer stuff and audio interfaces, 3 years is a long time. That's ancient by the time it turns 3, right? But these were 20 years old, and they were working awesome. In fact, with these broadcast issues, I'm kind of thinking that I might go and put those back on. I might even get rid of this RME card. I don't know if I can't figure this out, because that's just crazy. I did have a couple little problems, but they weren't like this. I mean, it was nothing like this, so this is something else. I may just be pushing Reaper too hard with it. I don't know. But anyway, the old Motu devices, they went through I think they were called audio wire. They used FireWire cables to get to this card. It used to be, I think it was the 324 card or something. I'm using the 424 PCIe cards. And the last driver update for that was made in 2012. So that's a little bit scary, but they do really run really fast. Super low latency. And if you go and check the DAW bench, their performance benchmarks, the PCI 424 card is still way up there. But these ancient 20-year-old cards, I mean, you see them on eBay for like $200. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. So if you really want a rock solid, super low latency, high I/O count, just you go spend $500 on a 424 card and a pair of these 2408s, you'd have 48 channels in and out, and that's just unreal. I wanted to use it with my M32, which makes it a little bit more complicated. I'm using the ADAT card, but I'm sorry, I'm so flustered today because of these problems. Like I'm so surprised I'm having this much trouble with the RME stuff, and I was having none of it with the Motu stuff. But this RME is USB rather than PCI, so maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I'll stop harping on that for now. But one of the reasons I wanted to use the RME is because it gives you total mix, which let me pull that up actually. So one of the things I could do is they have this loopback function, so I can send some hardware back out to the back out to its input. So I all the crazy problems we always have routing audio between apps and Windows. The RME's total mix can actually help me take care of it. Like I'm routing my 1 and 2 output, which is my main Reaper output. I'm sending that through Total Mix from the software playback to ADAT output 31 and 32, and then I'm doing the loop back on that, and then I can use 31 and 32 as inputs to OBS. So Reaper sends to OBS through OBS ASIO. I'm going to try the WDM stuff with it later. I don't want to do that right now because who knows what I could break. Probably a bad idea. fact, I'm going to change. Okay. So yeah, I'm not going to do that right now, but you could do this through WDM, I think, as well as through ASIO. But there's some crazy routing. You see how this. It's really. I'm trying to make it so that whenever I'm sick, other people can run this stuff, and so I really need to figure out a way to draw it out for them real easy. But let me just show. I'm going to switch for those who can see. You can see the matrix view here. You can see that I am sending ADAT 1 and 2 to ADAT out 31, 32. And I'm doing a real-time input from mic pre-input 27, which I'm going to use as my talkback. I have a central station's Q out plugged into there. And so I could use the push-to-talk button. And sending that to outputs 3 and 4, which is the what I'm send to the headphones for the studio room. I used to have to do it a kind of a crazy way with the M32, but now this will just handle itself. That's kind of nice. Speaking of the M32, so in order to do this, I'm doing some pretty crazy routing, and for those who can see, I'm actually going to pull up the routing system here. So you can see, sorry. So there's so many ways to skin the cat on the M32, on the X32s, whatever the Behringer X32s and the Midas M32s. The way you handle the routing, it's a lot of times it's 8 at a time, which makes things a little bit difficult, but basically what I'm doing is the first 24 inputs are going to a DL32, which is like a digital snake. It pretty much mirrors the mic preamps on the M32, but you can put them at the end of an Ethernet cable and put them right where you want them. So those mic preamps from 1 to 24 just go straight into the audio interface through the ADAT cards. Just the mic preamps, nothing else. And 25 through 32, which goes to my last bank of ADATs, I'm using the local M32 mic preamps, so they're in the control room with me. And that's for things like the DI boxes, in case we're doing recording the DIs or when I'm teaching guitar and stuff. So that's where they go. So that's what gets sent to the card. And for the actual input into the console itself, 1 through 8 are coming back from the ADAT out 1 through 8, and I'm using those so I can monitor the headphone sends, and I can monitor the regular computer stuff like your YouTube and everything else. I got that coming in on 5 and 6. And 7 and 8 I have monitoring OBS, and unfortunately that's where I'm getting all these clicks and dropouts today that I just wasn't getting with the Motu stuff, sadly. So I really do got to figure that out. I know I said I wasn't going to say that again, but anyway, that's kind of how my routing is going. And when I'm sending it out, I'm sending to the DL32. I'm actually sending the ADAT outs from 1 through 8. So later on we can do those special kind of mixes that it can do. And 9 through 16 out is actually mirroring 17 through 24, so that I can, if somebody's using the PA system out there, I can record the mic, but it also sends the mic preamp right back out to the PA system, which is extremely handy. And so if you guys have seen any of this Ultranet stuff, you can buy these Ethernet-based controllers that you plug into the Stage Snakes or to the Ultranet ports on the X32s, and it gives you a little mixer that your people who are out there recording in their rooms, they can mix it themselves. There's also a way to do that with just an iPad and some of the stereo pairs of output. So that's probably what I'm going to end up doing later on. But normally I just send them either my mix or I send them a slightly different mix than what I've got. And as long as those have the talkback mic on them, I'm fine. And that's kind of how I'm doing it with the RME's Total Mix, which is extremely handy. And I don't know that I could do that with the Motus. I'm sure there's a way I could figure it out, but the Motus don't have the Total Mix thing, which makes things a lot harder. I'm really, after tonight's show, I'm going to take a good, long, hard look at exactly what's going on and what the problems are here. I know I keep saying I'm not going to talk about it, but I shouldn't be having any issues at all. This is silly. But the loopback is really cool, and the routing for this RME is it's letting me do all this, and hopefully this mirroring out on the DL32 is going to do some really good stuff for out there. And so let's just see. Let me see if I can even play this. So this is where I keep having all these dropouts and stuff. I'm gonna hit this, and so I've got one of our kids, from our kids program. He's been recording this thrash song. Let me just see if this output's come back the way it's supposed to. Let me hit play, and we're gonna see what happens. There's a dropout, of course. At least that means Reaper's getting dodged. Oh, it's these dropouts. So these dropouts aren't showing in the they're not dropping in the sync status. They're not showing on the USB dropouts. So I really don't know what's going on. There's a chance that I'm doing something different in Reaper now, and that's would be dropping out even if I had the Motus in there. But it's crazy because when I had the Motus, that wasn't happening, and when I had the Behringer, like the worst drivers of all, the Behringer X32 is a USB card, it wasn't dropping out. So that's, man, I know I keep saying I'm not going to talk about it, but I keep talking about it. Sorry. Yeah, for some reason my Central Station's headphone outputs died. So, but it's always Murphy's Law. So I had to do a workaround by just plugging more things into the M32 and using its monitor outs. I assigned the master fader to the headphone volume and have the main out bypassing the master fader. So I just use my Central Station's volume for that. But that's kind of how it is in studios. You've always got to find a way to work around your problems. And usually there's several different solutions just staring you right in the face to get around it. And that's kind of what you got to do. So let me, for those of you who can actually see it, I'm going to put up a picture. Let's see, where is it? Sorry. So what I'm trying to do is draw out exactly how all the routing is, because this has gotten really, really complicated, and I have like a signal flow. One thing that's helping, a little signal flow diagram that kind of shows where everything's going from the talk back into Total Mix, into the ADAT cards, where it comes back on the mixer and everything, how the loopback's working. And so I have like a really crappy drawing of, just some squares, boxes that have names in them, and I just got different colored arrows going between them. So I really need a way better way to do it. And especially for the M32's internals, that we used to have those recall sheets and cut sheets and stuff. That would be handy, but the way you draw the routing out, wow, I'm not really sure. I want to make a way so that, and it's not just that. I need to make these routings and stuff for when I'm not here, and I actually need some help thinking up of a way to make the computer so that you need different logins, and for when guests are here, they can't like really mess up all my stuff. I really do need that to get figured out. So if anybody's got ideas on that, how to set that up, lock out certain drives and everything. And then probably I just need to get some locking desks in here to store things I don't want stolen. But for those you know me, I'm sick an awful lot. I have to turn down a lot of things, and it's a shame because this gear is sitting here. It should be in use, and I have plenty of kids that can learn how to do this, and so I really do need help making it so that they can run things when I'm not able to be here, and I'm not able to be here an awful lot, and I really want to give them a chance to do all this stuff, and they can, they just, I do need to set it up securely so that they're not going to completely break something if I'm not here, or people steal stuff, things happen. So I do need help thinking of that up. And when I'm typing, I have my mic on a little stand and it starts hammering around. I have it on a shock mount, but that doesn't seem to help. So if you guys have a way to make it so that you can still type on your keyboard when you're using your narration mic without it making all kinds of explosive sounds, that'd be great. Let me know. And so I guess my last thing, this was not going to be very long, and with all the problems, I'm not going to go forever, but I am setting up a mic preamp test. You guys know it kills me when people tell noobs they got to buy some $5,000 mic preamp just to record their guitars or whatever. I am doing a very comprehensive test, and go ahead and Google, but I don't think you can find a chart that shows actually side by side all the different mic preamps and frequency response, noise, and distortion. There's all these claims about the distortion and stuff. I did a test on the actual M32 mic preamps the other day, and there's all these claims that when you really push them, they make this special character. But when I tested it turned out to be just about linear all the way up. So there's myth number one busted. But I am going to test as many mic preamps as I can get my hands on, and I'm going to be asking you guys to send, hey, you could trust me. I'm a scientist, but I'm going to need people to send me, boutique mic preamps. I'm going to test everything I can, and we're going to have an apples to apples comparison. Actually, I'm waiting for my cousin to get his Apogee converters to me, so I'm gonna have just a apples to apples comparison of parameters that actually matter, and there'll still be true believers out there, the zealots that are gonna say that doesn't actually test what you're testing, but with the hyperbole that you give, like you're ending the world by not using the right mic preamp because the differences are just so incredibly obvious. I think we can definitely check whether that's true or not, and so that's what I'm going to be working on. And one of the funniest things while I was setting this up is that the Midas and Behringer mic preamps, when you turn their knobs, they seem to, everything shows that they go in half decibel increments. You go plus 0.5, plus 0.1, plus 1.5, and you can see that in the preamps page. You can see that on the channels page, and you can see that on the software if you're using like X32 Edit or whatever. But it turns out, so when I went to measure it, 0 ended up at -2. So if I put 12 in, I'd get -14 back. And it turns out that those things actually only move in 2.5 decibel increments. So no matter what you're turning on there, it's lying to you. It doesn't actually do anything until you've moved it 2.5 decibels. So if I put plus 0.5, it's no longer -2, it's actually 0.5. And then so you had to go up another 2.5 to go up from there. It's ridiculous. So there's actually, as far as I can tell, and I've asked everybody I could so far, and I've gotten a lot of answers, and as far as it seems, there is no way to actually get unity gain on the X32 or M32 mic preamps. So calibrating this test is going to be a little bit tricky. It's actually going to show a little bit negative on the X32 and M32 mic preamps because of that. But I really want apples to apples. So that's we're going to have a little problem because of that, but that's how it's going to be. But still, yeah, these are actually excellent mic preamps. And with the I have a lot of stuff to do today, and with all the problems I've been having with the streaming today, I am going to call this here, and I'm just going to put this up. And thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys later. Like I say, if you got any ideas for me to set the computer up so that other people can use it without messing it up, and just in general ways to draw out the routing so that it'll be easier for people to figure out, let me know. And I'll see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.